We're going to keep it real. And we're going to try to just give you our point of view on how we experience grief. This can be a touchy subject for a lot of us, but it's something that we have to deal with because it is a part of life. It's something that we must deal with. But grief doesn't necessarily mean that you're dealing with someone that has passed away or you're grieving someone that has passed away. You could actually be grieving someone that is still alive. There's a lot of family members and a lot of friendships that are torn, and you may be grieving that particular person because that person is no longer in your life.
Exactly. Exactly, guys. As Doc B said, that's something serious. Things like that happen all the time, and you don't know how you're going to grieve, based on different situations. And like Doc B said, it doesn't always have to be about someone that passed away, as we're going to get into that. Also, let you guys know that sometimes it's about a little bit more than that. So we're going to dive deep into that with you guys today. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. Um, and again, grief isn't just about death.
Nope, no, it's not. Okay, guys. Most people hear the word grief and they think caskets. I mentioned a few minutes ago. It's not all about the death of a person. It could be the person that's living. But grief also shows up in silence when someone you love is still alive, but that person is not in your life. I mentioned earlier, some people have broken relationships and that person is no longer in their lives. So that's the kind of grief that we're going to talk about as well. That's the kind of grief that just lingers.
Exactly. I've buried people that I loved, with all my heart, my aunt, my grandfather, my grandmother. But I also had to bury expectations from people that's still breathing today. That's a different kind of pain, one with no funeral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but this is all real, people, and these are things that you must deal with. I've had to grieve people that I used to talk to every single day. Those who don't even check in anymore. People come in and out of your lives. And these are people that I helped. There have been times when you help people and then they walk out of your life as well. People that you prayed for, people that you love. And now it's like you don't exist anymore. They'll shut you out of their lives. But I still love them from a distance. So even though that person or persons may not feel the same way towards me, I still love them regardless.
Exactly, David. And I think a lot of times we underestimate the emotional weight of losing someone who is still alive. You see them living their lives, smiling, and you wonder to yourself, did I even matter?
And that's what actually cuts so deep. It hurts knowing that you care for someone so much or you put so much time into that person and it's not reciprocated. That really hurts. It's like somebody just cuts your heart out. But that it's not the absence, it's that the erasure. You feel like that they've erased you out of their lives. The idea that they are fine, they're okay while you're left holding the memories. And it's the key to this is you're stuck dealing with the memories and they moved on. And some people can move on quickly like that, and some people cannot.
Exactly, David. We're going to take this moment to give some shout outs to some of our viewers that joined us today. We appreciate you guys.
All right. Shout out to Lisa, lives in Charlotte, who said that she had to grieve her own daughter. God, I know that must be painful. She's alive, but she said they haven't spoken in 2 years. Girl, we are lifting you up right now. I know that can be very difficult because I know at one time, me and my middle son, we were not on speaking terms and we went a while. I had to let him deal with some things and give him that space he needed. And sometimes people need space to grow up. But that is a terrible feeling, knowing that you are not communicating with one of your children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And guys, don't forget, tapped up screen. We appreciate it.
Yes, yes. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Send those hearts, send those
Yes,
gifts.
thank you.
We'll appreciate it. And for our YouTube people, we'll appreciate the gifts that you send, especially some of our special members. We thank you so much. And tag someone who needs this word, because we know there are a lot of people that's out there grieving. So let's keep the love flowing, guys. Okay. Right now, what we want to do is we want to talk about grieving the living, okay? And the guilt that comes with it. You know, we spoke about it a few minutes ago.
Yes,
it's not all about those that have passed away. All right, let's talk about that guilt. You know, grieving someone who is still alive. All right, you question yourself every day. You know, should I call them? Was it my fault? You know, should I try again? But sometimes God answers with silence.
Yes, and I've wrestled with that so many times. I've lost count. And I'm the type of person that I always want to help everybody. I want to help. If it's in my power to help someone, then I'm going to do it. But when I realized I was begging for peace in places that gave me pain, because sometimes you can try to help somebody, but it's only bringing you more drama and more pain. I realized that I had to stop trying to do too much. That's why sometimes I'll say I'm doing too much. Sometimes I need to just pull back. I can't do everything. I cannot solve every problem. And I had to grieve that version of me too, because I had to pull away from what I was doing too much of. So I got caught up in some things. So, sometimes we have to do that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes it's not just the person you lose, guys. It's that part of you that hope they loved you back the way that you loved them.
Yeah. And this is what's key, guy. Oftentimes, we all want to be loved.
Yes.
We want to feel like if you putting in that much energy to love someone, or you doing all of this for that person, you want them to in turn show you the same thing. And then we don't get that. That feels like betrayal. And then you keep checking your phone to see if they texting you or calling you back. You pray for a message that's never going to come, that never comes. But the truth is, healing is not always mutual.
No, it's not. That part, Dr. B. And sometimes the guilt isn't about what we did. It's about what we allowed. We stayed when we should have left.
Yeah.
We hoped. We bent. When we should have been unbreakable. And we broke.
Yeah.
When we should have been unbroken.
Yeah. Sometimes in relationships, you bend over backwards for people, but people don't bend over backwards for you.
Exactly.
So you have to be careful because people will use you. Okay, I want to take a moment to give we want to take a moment to give a big shout out to Malcolm, who's in Baton Rouge, who wrote in saying, my best friend ghosted me after 12 years. Wow. No reason at all. He says it still hurts, and I'm still checking his page sometimes. He goes out there and checks his social media pages. Bro, I hate to say it, but you're not alone. There's oftentimes that we'll go out to our friends' social media pages and see what's going on their page. Sometimes they have parties and get-togethers, and they don't even invite us. And then we're wondering, well, why didn't I get an invitation?
Exactly. And that brings up to us to this scenario here. Imagine you raised your sister's kids for years, for whatever reason that she couldn't do it. You stepped up and you raised your sister's kids. Then one day she gets back on her feet, she gets her kids, and she cuts all contact with you and the kids like you was some babysitter. Now, that grief right there, that's deep.
Yeah, that is deep, because guess what? You did all the work, took care of her children, and then when she gets her children back, she cuts all contact with you. Now, does that make sense? That's deep.
No. Here's what I want you to do, guys. Have you ever, put in the comments, answer this question, please. Have you ever been forgotten by someone you sacrificed everything for? Drop it in the comments. Have you ever been forgotten by someone you sacrificed everything for?
Yes. Let us know what you're thinking. And here's let's see, get someone say anything? Okay, yes, someone says, I helped raise my cousin's son, and now he doesn't even speak to me. I feel invisible.
Wow.
Mm.
That is crazy, Dottie.
And Courtney, that could happen. We all see that. Hey, Bigo on MT, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you guys' support. But that can happen. You could be doing the work and then not feel appreciated or feel invisible in the long run by the same people that you help.
Exactly.
And so that is why that becomes a part of grief as well, because you're grieving that person in this particular case. This, the person mentioned earlier, they're grieving because they helped raise the children, and now they have no contact with the children whatsoever. This other person was helped raise her cousin's son, and now the son doesn't even speak to him. So that's another example of grief. Okay, guys? So don't forget to tap the screen and send a rose if this is resonating with you guys. We need you to give us some comments and let us know what you guys are thinking. We appreciate you chiming in and letting us know what you guys are thinking. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Let's move on to the next part of this grief, Dr. B.
Okay. We're going to talk next about when they're gone for good. Healing after death. That's the other aspect of it. And I'm sure all of us have dealt with death with grief when the person is now deceased. Okay. So loss by death brings finality, but it doesn't make it easier. My mother and father both are deceased, and every now and then I still wish I could call them. And my grandmother, who was so dear to me, I often think about that now because they were such an instrumental part of my life. I wish they were still here. And I often tell my children, everything that I have now, the material stuff that I have, if I could get all of that back, I would give it all away if I could get them back in my lives. Because that stuff you can accumulate once again, but you can't replace a person's life. Okay?
Exactly. And for me, Doc B, losing my aunt, it kind of shattered me a little bit because of the closeness that we had for years. The only other woman that was that close to me was my mother. But my mother lived in Florida, and I was in Atlanta. My aunt lived in Atlanta, so I saw her almost every day because she was so close. So when she passed away, like I said, it shattered me. She was more than family. She was the calm to my chaos. And even more recently, which I'm really trying to deal with right now, my two nephews, gone way too soon, literally infants, passed away a couple of weeks ago. Gosh, it's still hard thinking about it right now. Now that's pain, and for me personally, I don't know how when I speak to my brother to tell him that I understand what he feels, because I can't understand. My kids are still here.
Yes.
So I can't tell him, bro, I understand what you're going through, because I don't. It changed how I see time, as you were saying earlier. I don't wait to say I love you anymore to the people that I care about and that care about me.
Yeah. I have started doing something at the end of the conversations that I have with. I do it with one of my children. I got to start with the other two. And it's I guess it's just based on the closeness, but a lot of my family members, the ones that are closely related to my age, before we end any conversation, we say I love you, I love you, I love you, love you, because you don't know if that is going to be the last time that you speak to that person. You don't know. And quite recently I lost one of my church members, and she was in church Sunday, and Tuesday or Wednesday she had passed away. So you just don't know. So you need to acknowledge and let that person know how you're feeling when you get a chance, every chance you get, because if you don't, then you may regret that and say, well, I should have told that person that I loved them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So now, the thing about grief, it teaches us what really matters, what's really important to us: love, legacy, and how quickly life can shift. At the drop of a dime, a person can be gone here one day. I just mentioned one of my church members, they could be gone the next.
Exactly. And for some of you guys out there that follow social media and things that's going on, you know, especially some of my old wrestling heads, Hulk Hogan has passed away.
Yeah.
You know, and for some of my Cosby Show people or Malcolm and Eddie people, you know, Malcolm Jamal Warner has passed away. You know, too young. What, 53 years old? It's like
54.
53, 54.
Huck was 71.
But still
young.
Too young. You know, and you will hear, and then when you look at their social media posting a day before or hours before, and you don't know when your time is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to live life to the fullest. And as Doc B said earlier, don't wait to tell somebody that you love them when you do.
Mm-hmm.
And grief can sneak up on you so fast. You're fine, then a smell, a song, a date on the calendar can completely suddenly undo everything that you thought has been done.
Yeah, exactly. And there is no particular timeline that says that you are going to pass away on a certain date or a person's going to be gone on a certain day. People say, get over it like it's cold. But hey, guys, some grief, this is how you deal with it. You know, some people just can't just say, hey, I'm not just going to get over that person's death. You have to grieve, take your time to actually heal through that process. And some grief is like learning how to walk all over again.
Exactly. Shout out to our brother Darius in New York. He says he lost his parents within 11 months. He said this show is helping him to find a little light in the dark. You know, we got you, Darius. We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you sharing you know, your story about your parents. We thank you for that. Let's show Darius some love in the comments.
Yes, guys.
If you're walking through grief now, drop a candle emoji in the comments. If you're walking through grief right now, drop a candle emoji in the comments. We'll appreciate it. Brother, brother Darius.
And Gus Taylor says he misses his parents. It was Monday when she passed away. So let's show Darius and Gus Taylor some love, guys, in the comment section. Please, guys. I know grief can be terrible, but you've got to be able to deal with it and fight through it. But it is real, guys. It really is. Okay. Thank you, Joseph Wallace and George Ashbrash for joining us, and P. Jizzle. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate your support. We appreciate all of your comments, guys.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now we're going to move on to growing from the grief and moving on without shame. Okay. The turning point. I stopped asking, you know, why did they leave? And started asking, why am I still here? That changed everything for me. I had to make meaning out of the pain.
Yes. And I can speak highly on that particular subject because I have had a heart attack. And so when I had a heart attack, it was a minor heart attack, but I don't care, it's a heart attack. I could have died. And for me, that says, why am I still here? And I remember having a conversation with my pastor, and she said, well, you have a purpose. So everybody has it. If God has spared your life, then he spared it for a reason.
Yes.
So you have a purpose, and you need to find out what that purpose is first. And you need to meet those obligations in that particular purpose. And I know for me, it's telling people, trying my best to help people and sharing with people what I have experienced.
That's deep right there, Doc B. You know, you can love people, you know, and still walk away.
Yeah.
You can grieve them and still grow. Y'all don't have to let grief become your identity. Let it be a part of your story. Not the whole book,
Yeah.
just a part.
Yeah, guys. And don't forget to grieve you. It's okay to grieve you. The you that stayed too long, the you that tried too hard, the you that kept giving while others were taking. You know, some people are just takers. You give all you have, and all they do is take, take, take. That's okay for you to do that. It's okay for you to grieve her. Then go love the new version of you.
Exactly. That's deep right there, Doc B.
Mm-hmm.
Honor who you were, but don't be afraid to evolve. Sometimes closure is just accepting it'll never make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you really have to understand. You could be in a relationship. That person might tell you, I don't want to be with you no more. And you guys could have been together for a year. Everything seemed to be going well. I mean, literally up to the day she or he told you they don't want to be with you no more. There was no indication that the relationship was faulting or in danger. But you have to understand again, sometimes closure is just accepting that it will never make sense.
Okay, guys. Now we have another scenario. This is just imagine that if you spent 10 years in a relationship, you sacrificed your dreams, you know, moved to a different state, gave that person your all in all. One day that person walked away with no explanation. That person is still alive to this day, thriving, but silent. How do you deal with that? Would you be able to move on without the apology? A lot of people say, I can't move forward without an apology. Yes, you can. Or some people say they can't move forward without closure.
Yeah.
If that person is not giving you no explanation, they are thriving, they haven't said anything, that is closure.
So drop it in the comments. Would you be able to move on without an apology if you was in a relationship for 10 years and did all that what Doc B said, and then just one day they just walked away? Drop it in the comments if you will be able to move on without an apology.
Okay. And double tap, guys, if you're healing in silence. Let us know. Give us a double tap. Let us know what you're thinking. And your story does matter to us, guys. It does.
And we do have a comment. Says, I'm trying, but it's hard. Some days I still imagine the conversation I wish we had. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, it gets better. Trust me.
Yeah.
It gets better.
Much prayer. Okay, guys, we're going to talk about faith. This is the part where you're going to deal with the grief. We're going to talk about faith, forgiveness, and finding peace.
Yes.
So you know what helped me grieve, guys, guess what? Forgiveness. Not just for them, but for me. See, a lot of people get so caught up in thinking forgiveness for the other person. You can know that a person has mistreated you, and you know that they never say they're sorry. They probably will never say that. But you can forgive them anyway. Not for them. You're actually doing it for yourself.
Exactly.
For not knowing, you know better now, for staying too long. Forgive, and then forgive yourself for the things, for putting up with some of the mess. But you can move on. And for the things that you didn't say when you had a chance to say it.
Facts, Doc B. Facts. And I have to forgive myself. God knows that. That's real talk. I had to get honest about being mad. I had to be honest about being confused, and I had to be honest about being disappointed.
Yeah. And I've had to learn to, and this is what brings me and gives me a lot of peace, is I cannot control how people treat me. I can control how I react to the way that people treat me. And that's what keeps me grounded, guys. So just know that God can handle our grief and our questions, but we can't hold healing hostage, waiting for answers that we may never get.
Exactly. And I used to think peace meant reconnection. Now I know peace can mean protection. God sometimes removes people to preserve your purpose.
Yes, he does. So guys, let's learn to forgive, Let's learn to release and live. That's the formula. Forgive, release, and live. Don't die with the grief still choking your soul.
Mm, mm. Guys, we want you guys to drop a final heart in the chat if you're ready to release something or someone tonight. Drop a heart in the chat, guys, if you've been grieving or you're ready to release something or someone tonight.
Okay, guys. Now, my final take on this is grief does not follow a rule book. There's nothing in there that says step one, step two, step three. And it doesn't need anyone's permission to just show up. It hits in the quiet moments. Sometimes you'll be just driving along and you'll think about a person that you lost. It'll, you'll think about it when a memory just surfaces, when a birthday passes, just like I know when most of my relatives that have past birthdays are, or when you realize a text won't ever come. But I want our J&B Live Podcast family to understand this and know this, guys. Grief is not a sign of weakness.
No, it's not.
It's proof that love was real, that you're capable of loving someone. And while loss may change the rhythm of your life, it doesn't have to stop the music. The music will keep playing. You're allowed to feel, you're allowed to mourn, and you are allowed to grow at your own pace. No one else's pace, just yours. And don't forget that healing is not betrayal. It is being brave. It's bravery.
That is amazing final word, B. My final word today is, when I think about grief, I think about how it humbles us and it reminds us that we're all just trying to find our way back to peace. Whether you're grieving someone who passed or someone who walked away, that ache that you feel is valid. But family, listen. What you've lost doesn't erase what still remains. Your purpose didn't die with that relationship or that loved one. At J&B Live Podcast, we always say healing is a journey, not a destination. So take the time to breathe, cry, always pray.
Yes, yes.
And remember, it's okay to laugh again. You know why? Because your story isn't over.
Okay, guys. Okay, family, this was a heavy topic this evening. We hope that you were able to gain something from this particular topic. It was a heavy one, but it was a necessary one. Whether you're grieving someone who's passed away, someone who has left your life, or someone who you had to walk away from, because that could have been could have been what had happened as well. You are not alone. So let's keep this conversation going, guys. Okay.
All right, guys. So remember, even whether you're still on the live or you catch the live later, remember you can still comment and share this episode. You can always follow us on YouTube, which is our main content channel, at Live with J&B. You can follow us on Instagram at Live with J&B. You can follow us on Facebook at J&B Live Podcast. And you can also follow us on TikTok with Live with J&B. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Live with J&B, and tap the bell so you never miss an episode. Now, for some of you guys that don't always have the time to be able to watch us live, you can always tune to your favorite podcast, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart Radio, Spotify,
Yes.
whatever or wherever you get your podcast enjoyment from. Just look for J&B Live Podcast, and we're going to pop right up and go ahead and click and follow us so you can listen to us when you're on that drive to work, going to work, or coming back home, so you don't have to miss any of this good stuff we got for you guys. We appreciate you guys joining us this evening. We had a great time. We hope you guys was able to take something in from this evening's podcast. And as always, I'm Broker J3.
And I'm Dr. B.
And let's talk about it.
Thank you guys. Y'all have a wonderful evening.